Hey, this is Basketball Talk 77, and today's video is my playoff predictions, the second round Eastern Conference. Now, this video will have two matchups. Bucks Heat, if the Bucks win the game, if the Bucks beat the Magic, and Celtics Raptors. And of course, the problem with making second round predictions is that it was scheduled, at least originally, that the game sevens for the first round ended on August 30th. And I think, in the beginning of the second round, game ones for second round began August 31st. So it's definitely, I'd have to do all the predictions overnight. So I've just made reasonable guesses to try to hope that I got this correctly. And I'll probably submit it very soon after, when my predictions are for sure. I'll submit that. And so we won't have to worry about me setting up predictions for two teams playing each other that they might not even play each other. In the East, it's pretty easy. However, in the West, it gets a lot more choppy. So that's why we're doing Eastern Conference first. But anyway, this is the teams that have made it through in the Eastern Conference. And we will have a video about my predictions and seeing how I did with my first round predictions versus what actually happened when the first round finally ends. And so stay tuned. And I think we should just start off with my first prediction, the Milwaukee Bucks against the Miami Heat. I'm going to call this Bucks in 7. Now, the Heat really have a lot of potential. The reason I say this is that although they are just the 5th seed, their highest highs can lead them to be a contender, or at least play like one. They're built very well as a team. Jimmy Butler, their offensive slasher, Bam Adebayo, their passer, all their shooters that help them have a really potent offense. And then they have Jimmy Butler and Bam Adebayo to defend on the other end. They're just a well-built team. And when their shooters are knocking down shots, and their players are playing well, they can look like a true contender. And that's why I think that they will push the Bucks to 7, although they're 5th seed. Because Jimmy Butler has been playing pretty well in the bubble, and whatever his statistics are, I'm not going to try to analyze them, but I've watched a few of these games, and I've seen that every fourth quarter, Jimmy Butler comes alive, or usually in the fourth quarter, even when it's close, at least with the series with the Pacers, he always came through, and he was a big part. When the shooters of Miami went cold, Jimmy Butler didn't, all the way until the fourth to secure the victory. And that is, of course, why the Heat swept the Pacers and were able to move to the next round. So they'll definitely get a good amount of rest for this round too, more than the Bucks, who have now had to take it to 5, plus this cancellation has pushed it back even more. And that means that the Heat will get significantly more rest than the Bucks will, and they will be ready, and if they are rested, they may play their best potential, which I just explained to you can be close to contender worthy. So that is why I think they'll take the Bucks to 7. However, in the end, Giannis is still Giannis and the Bucks are still the Bucks, and I still think they'll come out on top. The problem with the Heat is that they aren't always at their potential. They're occasionally inconsistent. Sometimes shots don't fall, especially the three-point shooting, and a big part of their offense revolves around the slash and kick game. I mean, I've watched them a large amount of their open looks that lead to threes are just Jimmy Butler or another slasher driving into the paint and then passing out, which leads someone to either go guard that shooter, and either they go for the shot, knock it down, they go for the shot or miss, or they pump fake, drive in, the defense collapses again to stop them, and the three-point shooter passes it up again. And because Jimmy Butler is such an efficient and good slasher, and Bam Adebayo is a good passer, they can continue this until eventually their good three-point shooters hit a shot. However, three-point shooting is inconsistent when it comes to offense, and that's why if the slash and kick game is taken away from them, they are much, much less of an offensive team. Not to mention, the Bucks have some very good defense, and they could definitely shut down the Heat's offense even more. Now, Bam Adebayo is one of the few that can guard Giannis. However, I don't believe that's enough to stop him fully, and I think that he will still dominate. Although the Heat might win Game 1, I think the Bucks will win in 7. My next prediction is Celtics-Raptors, and I'm calling this Celtics in 6. You have to look at the fact that the Celtics have led the Raptors in the head-to-head matchups 3-1, and that is one of those games was in the bubble. And although, of course, the Raptors were injured in some of those games, the Celtics just have a lot of talent. Now, the Raptors are a great defensive team, but the Celtics are no defensive slouches either. In fact, the Celtics are second only to the Raptors in defensive rating, which means they are just as good, almost as good, as the Raptors on defense. And when it comes to offense, the Raptors aren't even close to the Celtics. The Celtics have plenty more offensive weapons. They've got Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, Kemba Walker, that big three, and that can really help them. Now, the Raptors do have some good offensive pieces like Pascal Siakam, Kyle Lowry. You can even count Serge Ibaka and Fred VanVleet, but they are primarily a great defensive team. And we all know that the Raptors' offense has never been their greatest strength, at least in this season. And their great defense is what's helped them. However, their offense will be easy to guard for the Celtics and their great defense. And it definitely won't be a problem for the Celtics to take care of them. Meanwhile, the Raptors will still probably let the Celtics get something, as the Celtics are just so good on the offensive end. So that's why I think that the Celtics will win in 6, and that's the video. If you liked it, like the video. And if you want to see more of this, subscribe and turn on notifications, because when we're sure about the Eastern Conference, we will submit that video. Or when we're sure about the Western Conference, and those matchups, we will then submit that video. So, I'll be excited for that. Like and subscribe, and see you next time.